Yuna pressed her face against the observation window and smiled. The planet below glowed green and blue, covered in strange forests that swayed without wind. She had been studying these alien plants for 3 weeks now, and each day brought new discoveries. "Beautiful, isn't it?" her colleague said, floating past in the zero gravity. "Amazing," Yuna replied. She was 28 years old and had dreamed of this job since childhood. As a xenobiologist, she got to see things most humans never would. The research ship, Seongnam's Hope, carried 47 crew members, all dedicated to peaceful exploration. The alarm changed everything. Red lights flooded the corridors. Yuna grabbed a handhold as the ship lurched violently. The speaker crackled with the captain's voice, tight with fear. "Unknown vessel approaching. All hands to emergency stations. This is not a drill." Yuna's heart hammered in her chest. She pulled herself through the corridor toward the assembly point. Other crew members flew past, their faces pale. They were scientists, not soldiers. They had no weapons, no defenses. The ship shuddered again. Metal screamed. Then everything went quiet. The silence was worse than the alarms. Yuna reached the main deck and stopped. A massive hole had been torn in the hull, but some kind of energy field kept the air from escaping. Through the shimmering barrier, she saw them. The creatures were huge, at least 8 feet tall. They had 6 limbs, 4 for walking and 2 that ended in massive claws. Their skin looked like gray stone, covered in natural armor plates. They wore helmets with glowing red eyes and carried weapons that hummed with power. "Vrelax," someone whispered beside her. Yuna knew the name. Everyone did. They were hunters from beyond human space. Rumors said they were dangerous, but humans had never had real contact with them. Now she knew why. The aliens moved through the ship with purpose. They didn't speak. They simply walked through the crew, studying each person like someone might study insects. When they passed by, crew members collapsed. Not dead. Yuna could see them breathing, just unconscious. She wanted to run, but her legs wouldn't move. The largest Vrelax stopped in front of her. Its helmet retracted, revealing a face that looked like a nightmare. Multiple eyes studied her. Its mouth had too many teeth. It leaned close, and Yuna could smell something like burnt metal. It made a sound, almost like a purr. Then it pointed one massive claw at her. 2 other Vrelax grabbed Yuna. She tried to fight, tried to scream, but one of them pressed something cold against her neck. The world went dark. When Yuna woke up, she was in a cage. The walls were transparent, and she could see other cages around her. Each one held a different alien creature. Some she recognized from textbooks, species from distant systems. Others were completely unknown. All of them looked terrified. Yuna's cage was small, barely large enough to stand. The floor was hard metal, and there was nothing else. No bed, no toilet, no water. Her hands shook as she gripped the bars. "Where are we?" she called out. A creature in the next cage turned toward her. It had 4 arms and skin that changed colors. When it spoke, a device on its neck translated the words. "The hunting ship," it said. "You are prey now." Yuna felt ice in her stomach. "What do you mean?" "The Vrelax are hunters, the greatest hunters in the galaxy, they claim. Every 100 years they hold the century hunt. They collect the strongest, the smartest, the most interesting prey from across space. Then they release us on a world and hunt us for sport." "That's insane," Yuna said. "That's murder." "Yes," the creature agreed. "But they don't care. To them, we are animals. They broadcast the hunt across their empire. Millions watch. It is their greatest entertainment." Yuna looked around at the other cages. 23 aliens, all from different worlds, all stolen from their lives. "Has anyone ever survived?" she asked quietly. The creature's colors shifted to dark purple. "If you survive 30 days, they promise freedom. But in 500 years of hunts, No one has ever made it past 20 days. A door opened, and the largest Vrelax entered. It was the same one that had chosen Yuna. Its translator device clicked on. "I am Huntmaster Kelvan," it said. Its voice was deep and rumbling. "You should feel honored. You have been selected for the Century Hunt. Tomorrow you will be released on Karaspa 4. You will have 12 hours before we begin." "Why?" Yuna demanded. "Why are you doing this?" Kelvan's eyes focused on her. "Because you are worthy prey. I watched your ship. I saw you studying the world below with such focus. You are smart. You are curious. You will make the hunt interesting." "We're people," Yuna said. "Sentient beings. You can't just kill us for fun." "We are Vrelax," Kelvan replied. "We have hunted for 10,000 years. It is our way. It is our right." He turned to leave, then paused. "Your species is new to us. Small. Weak. But I see something in your eyes. Spirit, perhaps. Try to survive, human. Make this entertaining." The door closed behind him. Yuna sat down in her cage, her mind racing. She thought about her family on Earth, her uncle Seung, who served in the military, her friends, her dreams of discovery. She had wanted to explore the universe and learn about other species. Now, she would have to learn how to kill them. The other aliens in the cages were quiet. Some were crying. Some had given up already. Yuna looked at her hands. They were still shaking. But not from fear anymore. From anger. The Vrelax had made a mistake. They thought she was just another animal to hunt. They thought humans were weak and small and easy prey. They were about to learn differently. Yuna stood up and gripped the bars of her cage. She had 30 days to survive. 30 days to prove that humans were more than entertainment. 30 days to make them regret ever touching her ship. And if she died, she would make sure they remembered her name. The transport ship dropped them at dawn. Yuna hit the ground hard, rolling in the red dirt. Around her, the other 23 captives scattered in panic. Some ran immediately. Others stood frozen in terror. Within seconds, most had disappeared into the thick jungle. Yuna stayed low and watched. The world called Karas 4 was a nightmare. The sky was orange, and 2 suns hung overhead, making everything hot and bright. The plants were massive, with thorns as long as her arm. Strange sounds echoed through the jungle, screams, roars, and clicks that made her skin crawl. A pack on the ground caught her attention. She opened it quickly. Inside was a knife, a water container, some dried food, and a small medical kit. On her wrist, a metal band hummed. She tried to pull it off, but it was fused to her skin. "Tracker," she muttered. They would always know where she was. Yuna took a deep breath and started moving. Not running. Running would tire her out and make noise. She walked carefully, staying low, using the massive plants for cover. Her xenobiology training kicked in. She studied everything. Which plants had water? Which ones were poisonous? What insects moved through the soil? By the time the first sun set, she had found a cave. It was small and hidden behind a waterfall. She checked for animals, found none, and set up a simple camp. She didn't light a fire. Fire would tell them exactly where she was. The first scream came at midnight. It was one of the other captives somewhere far away. The sound cut off suddenly. Yuna pressed herself against the cave wall and waited. The 12 hours were up. The hunt had begun. On the second day, Yuna found tracks. Huge prints, 6-limbed. The Vrelax were here. She studied the tracks carefully. They were fresh, maybe an hour old, but they went in the wrong direction. The hunter had missed her. Good. She spent the day setting traps. Simple ones at first. Pits covered with leaves, tripwires connected to sharpened sticks. She used plants she had studied. Ones with thorns that dripped clear liquid. When she touched a dead insect to the liquid, it dissolved in seconds. poison. On the third day, she met other survivors. There were two of them. One was the four-armed alien from the cage next to hers. The other was something that looked like a walking lizard, covered in scales and carrying a sharp rock. They found her cave and asked to join her. "Safer together," the four-armed one said. Yuna agreed. She showed them the traps she had built. They helped make more. For one day she felt hope. On the fourth day, the Vrelax found them. It happened fast. One moment they were gathering water. The next, a massive shape burst from the trees. The lizard creature died first, a plasma bolt burning through its chest. The four-armed alien tried to fight, but the Vrelax was too strong. It ripped the alien apart with its claws. Yuna ran. She heard the Vrelax behind her, heavy footsteps crushing the undergrowth. It was playing with her, she realized. It could catch her easily, but it was enjoying the chase. She could hear it making sounds, laughter maybe. Then it triggered her trap. The Vrelax stepped on the hidden pit and fell. Sharpened stakes drove into its leg. It roared in pain and anger. Yuna didn't stop to watch. She kept running until the sounds faded. That night, she went back. The Vrelax was still in the pit, trying to climb out. Its armor was strong, but the poison on the stakes was working. She could see its leg turning black. It saw her and raised its weapon. Yuna was faster. She had found a rock the size of her head. She threw it as hard as she could. The Vrelax's helmet cracked. It fell backward into the pit and stopped moving. Yuna climbed down carefully and took everything it had. The plasma weapon, the armor pieces that fit, the food and water. There was also a small device on its belt. When she pressed it, a hologram appeared, a map of the area with glowing dots. The other hunters. She counted them. 15 Vrelax, spread across the hunting ground, and 20 dots of a different color, the surviving prey. Yuna smiled for the first time in days. The next 3 weeks were a nightmare of survival. Yuna moved constantly, never sleeping in the same place twice. She learned the jungle. She learned which animals were dangerous and which ones she could eat. She learned to move silently, to hide her tracks, to think like a hunter instead of prey. And she killed. The second Vrelax died to poison. She had coated her knife with the plant toxin and stabbed it while it slept. The third died to another trap, this one with rocks that fell from above. The fourth, fifth, and sixth died when she collapsed a cliff on them. Each time she took their equipment. Each time she learned more about them. They were strong and had better weapons, but they were arrogant. They believed they couldn't lose. They underestimated her because she was small and human. That was their mistake. On day 23, something changed. Yuna noticed that the other prey dots on her stolen map were disappearing faster than before. Then she found a dead Vrelax that she hadn't killed. It had been torn apart by some massive animal. The hunters were pushing deeper into more dangerous territory. She realized what was happening. She was making the hunt interesting. The Vrelax were getting excited, taking more risks. The broadcast must be getting good ratings. On day 30, Yuna stood on a cliff and watched the sunrise. She had done it. 30 days. She had survived. According to their rules, she had earned her freedom. The tracker on her wrist would tell them where she was. They would come to collect her, take her back to their ship, and release her. Yuna sat down and waited. The transport came at noon, but it wasn't empty. Huntmaster Kelvan himself stepped out, flanked by 4 other Vrelax. He looked at Yuna, and his eyes showed something she hadn't seen before. Respect. "You survived," he said. "The first in 500 years. You killed 7 of my hunters. The broadcast has been watched by billions. You are famous across Vrelax space." "Then let me go," Yuna said. "That was the deal." Kelvan's mandibles clicked together. "No. I cannot do that. You have made this hunt too interesting. My people demand more. The extended hunt is declared. You will continue." Yuna felt cold rage flood through her. "You're breaking your own rules." "Rules are for prey," Kelvan said. "We are Vrelax. We do as we please." He turned to leave, and his guards raised their weapons toward Yuna. She was ready. The plasma rifle she had stolen was hidden behind a rock. She grabbed it and fired. One guard went down, then another. Kelvan roared and fired back, but Yuna was already moving. She ran into the jungle, hearing them give chase, but she wasn't running away anymore. She was running towards something. 3 days ago, she had found a crashed ship in a canyon. It was old and broken, but the communications array looked intact. She had been saving it, planning to use it after her release. Now it was her only hope. Yuna reached the canyon and climbed down the cliff face. Behind her, the Vrelax were closing in. She could hear Kelvan ordering them to take her alive. She reached the crashed ship and activated the communications array. It hummed to life. Yuna grabbed the transmitter and spoke quickly. "This is Yuna, xenobiologist, research vessel, Seongnam's Hope. If anyone can hear this, please respond. Please." Static. Then a voice, human and distant. "This is Ganymede Station. We rid you. Identity confirmed. Where are you?" Yuna looked at the Vrelax climbing down the cliff toward her. "I'm being hunted," she said. "And I need Earth to know what happened to us." The message reached Ganymede Station first. Lieutenant Minho was on routine communications duty when the encrypted signal came through. At first, he thought it was a mistake. The Seongnam's Hope had been listed as missing for 5 weeks, presumed lost to a navigation error or mechanical failure. Ships disappeared sometimes in deep space. But this wasn't a distress beacon. This was a voice. "This is Yuna, xenobiologist, research vessel, Seongnam's Hope." Minho sat up straight and started recording. As Yuna spoke, explaining everything, the attack, the abduction, the hunt, the broken promise, his hands began to shake. He had a sister about Yuna's age. He couldn't imagine this happening to her. When the transmission cut off suddenly, Minho immediately forwarded it to Earth Command. Within an hour, it reached Admiral Sung. The Admiral was in a meeting when his aide interrupted. "Sir, you need to hear this. It's marked urgent and it mentions your niece." Sung felt his blood turn cold. "Yuna?" He listened to the recording 3 times. Each time, his jaw tightened more. By the 3rd replay, his hands were gripping the desk hard enough to leave marks. "Get me everything we know about the Vrelax," he said quietly, "and call an emergency session with the Chancellor. Now." The investigation moved fast. Dr. Hanna, head of Earth's diplomatic corps, accessed every database humanity had. What she found made her sick. The Vrelax were known to the galaxy, but most species avoided them. They claimed vast territories and warned others to stay away. A few ships had gone missing near their space over the years. Now they knew why. Hanna dug deeper. She found records of 40 human ships that had disappeared over 4 decades. Small research vessels, colony transports, mining operations, all gone without a trace. The pattern was clear once you looked for it. They targeted ships that wouldn't be missed immediately, that traveled alone in remote areas. 3,000 people, 3,000 humans had been taken and killed for sport, and Earth never knew because there were never survivors to tell the story, until Yuna. The emergency session was held in Geneva. Chancellor Jiwon, Earth's civilian leader, sat at the head of the table. Around her were military commanders, diplomats, and intelligence officers. The room was silent as they listened to Yuna's message. When it ended, Jiwon looked at Admiral Seong. "What are our options?" "One option," Seong said. His voice was hard and cold. "We go get her, and we make them pay for every single person they've taken." Dr. Hanna spoke up. "We should try diplomacy first. Contact the Vrelax government, demand Yuna's return, negotiate." "They hunt people for entertainment," Seong interrupted. "They broadcast it to billions. This isn't a misunderstanding or a rogue faction. This is their culture. Their tradition. You can't negotiate with that. The Admiral is right, another voice said. It was Commander Nari, head of Earth's Special Forces. She was small and quiet, but everyone knew her reputation. I've read the intelligence reports. The Vrelax have been doing this for thousands of years. They won't stop because we ask nicely. Jiwan was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she spoke. The Vrelax have declared war on humanity, whether they realize it or not. They just didn't know it because they killed all the witnesses. She looked around the room. We are going to respond. Not with diplomacy, not with warnings. We are going to show them what happens when you hunt humans. She turned to Seong. Admiral, you have full authorization. Mobilize the fleet. What about the other alien species? Dr. Hana asked. The Galactic Council? They'll accuse us of aggression. Let them, Jiwan said. We'll send the recording of Yuna's message to every species in the galaxy. Let them hear what the Vrelax do for fun. Let them decide if we're the aggressors. The meeting ended. Orders went out across human space. Admiral Sung took command of the Third Fleet. 12 dreadnoughts, 40 cruisers, and 100 smaller ships began gathering at staging points. He chose his flagship carefully, the dreadnought Incheon's Fury, named after a battle where a small force defeated a much larger enemy. The ship's captain was Taeyang, a veteran of the border wars. He met with Seong in the war room. What's our objective, sir? Taeyang asked. Seong pulled up a star map. It showed Vrelax space, hundreds of systems spread across a vast territory. He touched one system in particular. First, we extract Yuna. Commander Nari is already assembling a team for that. They'll insert quietly, get her out, and signal us. And then? Taeyang asked. Then we destroy them. Seong zoomed out, showing the entire Vrelax empire. Every military installation, every hunting world, every ship. We don't stop until they can never hurt another human again. Taeyang nodded slowly. That's not a battle plan, sir. That's extermination. Yes, Shung agreed. It is. Meanwhile, Commander Nari was selecting her team. She needed people who could move fast, fight hard, and operate deep in enemy territory. She chose 12 operators, the best humanity had. They trained for 3 days straight, studying everything known about Vrelax biology, weapons, and tactics. The plan was simple. A stealth ship would drop them on Keras 4. They would locate Yuna using the signal from her tracker, extract her, get out. No contact with the enemy unless necessary. What if she's already dead? One operator asked. Nari looked at him coldly. Then we bring back her body. Either way, she comes home. On the 4th day, they launched. The stealth ship was new technology, built using research from captured alien vessels. It bent light and energy around itself, making it almost invisible. It slipped through Vrelax space like a ghost. Back on Earth, Dr. Minho worked around the clock on another project. He was a weapons researcher, one of the best. For years, humanity had been developing military technology in secret, preparing for the day when they met hostile aliens. That day had come. He activated weapons systems that had never been tested in real combat. Kinetic bombardment platforms, plasma cannons, electronic warfare suites designed to shut down alien computers. And something new, a virus specifically written to attack Vrelax communication networks. Will it work? His supervisor asked. It'll work, Minho said. And when it does, they won't be able to coordinate, won't be able to call for help. They'll be blind and alone when we hit them. The fleets moved into position. Admiral Sung stood on the bridge of the Incheon's Fury and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, his niece was still fighting for her life. She had survived 34 days now, according to the last tracker signal. 34 days of being hunted like an animal. He thought about the 3,000 other humans who hadn't survived. People with families, dreams, futures. All taken because the Vrelax thought it was entertaining. Sir, Taeyang said quietly. The fleet is ready. All ships report green across the board. Good, Seung said. He activated the fleet-wide channel. Every ship, every sailor, every marine heard his voice. This is Admiral Seung. In a few hours, we will enter Vrelax space. We are not going there to negotiate. We are not going there to warn them. We are going there to end them. He paused, letting that sink in. They hunted one of ours for sport. They killed 3,000 of our people and laughed about it. They broadcast our suffering for entertainment, and they thought we would never know, never find out, never come for them. His voice grew harder. They were wrong. We are going to show them what humans do when you threaten our family. We are going to show them that we don't hunt for sport. We hunt to make sure the threat never comes back. And when we're done, every species in the galaxy will know. You can be humanity's friend, or you can be humanity's memory. Choose wisely. The channel closed. Seung looked at Taeyang. Signal Commander Nari. Tell her to begin the extraction. Yes, sir. The dreadnought's engines flared to life. Behind it, the entire Third Fleet began to move. The Vrelax had no idea what was coming. Yuna was tired. 47 days on Karis Vapor. 47 days of running, hiding, and fighting. Her clothes were torn and dirty. She had scars from Vrelax weapons and local predators. The food she had stolen from dead hunters was almost gone. But she was still alive. She crouched in the ruins of an ancient structure, something built by a species long gone. It gave her cover and high ground. From here she could see the jungle below. 3 Vrelax were tracking her, moving carefully through the trees. They had learned to be careful. She had killed 19 of them now. Yuna checked her stolen plasma rifle. The charge was low, maybe enough for 2 shots. She would have to make them count. She aimed carefully and waited. The lead Vrelax stepped into her trap, a simple tripwire connected to a pile of rocks. They fell, crushing it under tons of stone. The other 2 scattered, searching for her. She fired twice. Both shots hit. Both Vrelax went down. Yuna slid down from her position and approached carefully. She needed their supplies, but as she reached the first body, something felt wrong. Too easy. She dove to the side just as plasma fire burned through the air where she had been standing. More Vrelax emerged from the jungle. 5 of them. They had used their companions as bait. Yuna ran. She crashed through the undergrowth, hearing them behind her. She was fast, but they were faster. Her legs burned with exhaustion. She had been running for 47 days. She couldn't run much longer. Then the sky split open. A ship appeared above the jungle, but it wasn't Vrelax. It was sleek and dark, unlike anything Yuna had seen before. Hatches opened and armored figures dropped down on cables. They moved with professional precision, weapons up, scanning for threats. One of them spotted Yuna and raised a hand. "Yuna, get down!" The voice was human. Yuna hit the ground as the soldiers opened fire. Their weapons made a different sound than Vrelax guns. Sharper, faster. The Vrelax behind her tried to return fire but were cut down in seconds. A soldier ran to Yuna and pulled her up. Through the helmet visor, she saw human eyes. "Commander Nari, Special Forces," the soldier said. "We're here to bring you home." Yuna felt something break inside her. She had been so strong for so long. But hearing those words, "bring you home," made tears run down her dirty face. "How?" she managed to ask. "Your message reached Earth," Nari said, "and Earth sent us to get you, but we need to move now. More Vrelax are coming." The extraction team formed a protective circle around Yuna. They moved quickly toward the stealth ship, which had landed in a clearing. Vrelax soldiers appeared from everywhere, firing and shouting. But the human weapons were superior. Each shot found its target. They reached the ship and sealed the hatch. The pilot pulled up hard, and Karis 4 fell away below them. Inside the ship, a medic checked Yuna over. She had injuries, infections, and severe malnutrition, but she was alive. "How many did you kill?" one soldier asked with respect in his voice. 22, Yuna said quietly. I got 3 more today. The soldiers looked at each other. One of them whistled. 22 Vrelax hunters, with basic equipment, in 47 days. They made a mistake, Yuna said. They thought I was prey. I showed them I'm a predator. Nari sat down next to her. Your uncle is here, Admiral Seung. He's commanding the fleet. Fleet? Yuna asked. Nari smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. You wanted Earth to know what happened. They know, and they're not happy about it. The stealth ship broke through into space. Yuna looked out the window and gasped. Ships, hundreds of them. Massive dreadnoughts surrounded by smaller cruisers and destroyers. They hung in space like a constellation of death, all bearing Earth's colors. The pilot spoke. Admiral Seung, we have the package. Yuna is secure and alive. A voice came through the speakers, and Yuna's heart jumped. Uncle? Yuna. Admiral Seung's voice was thick with emotion. Thank God. Are you hurt? I'm okay, she said. I'm okay now. Good. Get to the medical bay. Rest. And Yuna, you can watch if you want. Watch what happens when someone hunts a human for sport. The stealth ship docked with the Inchen's Fury. Yuna was taken to medical, cleaned up, fed, and bandaged. But she refused to sleep. She went to the observation deck and looked out at the Vrelax home system ahead. Captain Taiyang stood beside her. Your uncle says you can stay if you want, but this is going to be brutal. Good, Yuna said. They deserve brutal. The attack began without warning. Earth's fleet didn't send messages or demands. They simply appeared at the edge of the system and opened fire. Kinetic weapons, massive metal rods accelerated to incredible speeds, rained down on Vrelax orbital platforms. The platforms exploded in silence, turning to debris and fire. The Vrelax fleet scrambled to respond. Ships launched from stations, weapons charging. They were confident. They had fought wars before and won. They were the greatest hunters in the galaxy. Then they met humanity's military. It wasn't a fight. It was a demonstration. Human ships were faster. Their weapons hit harder. Their tactics were built on centuries of human warfare, strategy, deception, overwhelming force. The Vrelax fought with honor and tradition. Humans fought to win. Within an hour, half the Vrelax fleet was destroyed. Admiral Seung watched from the bridge of his dreadnought. Target their communication relays. I want them isolated. Dr. Minho's virus activated. Vrelax communication networks crashed across the system. Ships couldn't talk to each other. Stations couldn't coordinate. They were alone in the dark, being picked apart. Sir, Taiyang reported, we're receiving a transmission from the Vrelax flagship. They're requesting negotiations. Deny it, Seung said. They had their chance to negotiate when they took my niece, when they took 3,000 of our people. The battle continued. Human Marines boarded Vrelax stations and ships. These weren't peacekeepers or police. These were soldiers trained for war. They showed no mercy. Every Vrelax military installation was cleared. Every weapons platform was destroyed. On the observation deck, Yuna watched the Century Hunt broadcasting station explode. The same station that had broadcast her suffering to billions. She felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, just emptiness. A Vrelax ship tried to run. It was fast, but human missiles were faster. The ship exploded in a ball of fire. Sir, the communications officer said, we're picking up a broadcast. The Vrelax are transmitting on all frequencies. Put it on screen, Seung ordered. Huntmaster Kelvon appeared. He looked different now, scared instead of confident. His armor was damaged. Humans, he said. Stop this attack. We can discuss terms. We can... No, Seung interrupted, broadcasting back. You hunted my niece for 47 days. You hunted 3,000 of my people over 40 years. You broadcast their deaths for entertainment. You don't get to discuss terms. We will honor our agreements, Kelvan said desperately. We will release all captives. We will pay reparations. We will... You had 30 days to honor your agreement with Yuna, Xiong said coldly. Ask her how much mercy you showed her. The screen switched to show Yuna standing on the observation deck. Kelvan's eyes widened in recognition. You, he said. Me, Yuna replied. I survived your hunt. Now Earth is going to hunt all of you. And unlike you, we don't hunt for sport. We hunt to make sure you never threaten us again. The transmission cut off. Admiral Xiong turned to his fleet commanders. Continue the assault. Every military target, every hunting world, every ship capable of combat. Destroy them all. What about civilian targets? Someone asked. Leave them alone, Xiong said. We're not them. We don't kill for entertainment. But anything that can hold a weapon, anything that can hunt, anything that can threaten another human, that gets destroyed. The human fleet spread out across Vrelax space like a wave of steel and fire. They hit the hunting worlds first. On each planet, human soldiers landed and freed the captives, dozens of different alien species, all taken for the hunts. The rescued aliens watched in shock as humans systematically destroyed every Vrelax facility, every weapon, every piece of hunting equipment. One freed alien asked a Marine, "Why are you doing this? We're not human." The Marine looked at her. "You're people. That's enough." News of the attack spread across the galaxy. Other species watched in shock. Some called Earth aggressive and dangerous. Others quietly thought about their own practices, their own secrets. And on the bridge of the Inchun's Fury, Admiral Sung received a report. "Sir, Vrelax High Command is broadcasting a surrender. Unconditional. They're asking us to stop." Seung looked at Yuna. "What do you think?" Yuna thought about 47 days of hell, about her dead crewmates, about 3,000 humans who never got to go home. "Don't stop," she said. "Not yet." The war lasted 6 months. 6 months of systematic destruction. 6 months of humanity showing the galaxy what they were capable of when pushed. 6 months of the Vrelax learning the difference between hunting for sport and fighting for survival. Earth's fleets moved through Vrelax space like a scalpel, cutting out every military installation, every weapons factory, every ship capable of war. Admiral Shung commanded from the Inchun's Fury, and his orders were clear. Eliminate the threat completely. Yuna stayed with the fleet. She refused to go home. The medical staff healed her injuries, but some wounds went deeper than the body. She needed to see this through to the end. She spent her time helping freed captives from the hunting worlds. Hundreds of aliens, dozens of species, all rescued from the Vrelax game preserves. They told her their stories, and each one made her angrier. "They took my daughter," one alien said. "She was only 12 years old. They said she would make good prey because children run fast." Yuna held the alien's hand and promised, "They will never take another child. Never again." On the bridge, Captain Taeyang received new intelligence. "Sir, we've located the main Vrelax government complex. It's on their home world, Vrelax's Prime. The entire leadership is there." Admiral Seung studied the tactical display. The planet was heavily defended. Orbital weapons platforms, shield generators, thousands of ships. It would be the hardest battle yet. "How many casualties do we expect?" he asked. "High," Taeyang admitted. "They know we're coming. They're ready." Shung was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled grimly. "They're ready for a fair fight, so let's not give them one." The attack on Vrelax's Prime began with Dr. Minho's electronic warfare. From hundreds of ships, invisible signals bombarded the planet. Vrelax computers crashed, power grids failed, communication networks went dark, the shields protecting the planet flickered and died. The Vrelax defenders tried to fight blind, shooting at sensor ghosts and shadows. Human ships appeared and disappeared, using stealth technology and electronic countermeasures. Then the kinetic bombardment began. Massive rods of metal fell from orbit, hitting military targets with the force of nuclear weapons. Command centers exploded. Weapons factories turned to craters. The Vrelax fleet tried to intercept, but human missiles overwhelmed their defenses. Within 6 hours, Vrelaxis Prime's military was broken. Admiral Sung sent a single message to the Vrelax High Command: "Surrender now, or we continue." The response came quickly. "We surrender. Please stop the attack. We will give you anything you want." Sung called a meeting with his command staff and Yuna. "They want to surrender," he said. "What are your recommendations?" Commander Nari spoke first. "We've destroyed their ability to make war. Their fleet is gone. Their weapons are gone. They're not a threat anymore." "But they still exist," another officer said. "In 50 years they could rebuild. In 100 years they could come back." Everyone looked at Yuna. She had been quiet, listening. "What do you want to do?" Sung asked her gently. Yuna thought about the question. She thought about the 47 days she spent being hunted. She thought about her dead crewmates. She thought about the 3,000 humans and countless aliens who died for Vrelax entertainment. "I don't want genocide," she said finally. "I don't want to become like them, killing because we can. But I also don't want them to ever do this again to anyone." "What do you suggest?" Sung asked. "Break them," Yuna said. "Take away everything they used to hunt. Their ships, their weapons, their technology. Send them back to their primitive colonies. Let them survive, but never let them reach the stars again." Seong nodded. "A measured response, I agree." The terms were harsh, but not murderous. The Vrelax government was dissolved. Their leaders were arrested and put on trial. Their military technology was destroyed completely. Every ship, every weapon, every piece of advanced equipment. The Vrelax population was relocated to 3 primitive colony worlds. They were given basic supplies to survive, but nothing more. No computers, no spacecraft, no weapons beyond simple tools. Human monitors were stationed on each world to ensure compliance. If the Vrelax tried to rebuild their technology, the monitors would stop them. Most importantly, every record of the century hunts was collected. Every broadcast, every recording, every piece of evidence. It was all sent to the Galactic Council. Chancellor Jiwon herself went to the council to present Earth's case. "For thousands of years," she said, "the Vrelax hunted sentient beings for sport. They took people from across the galaxy, brought them to death worlds, and killed them while billions watched for entertainment." She played the recordings. The council watched in horror as they saw the hunts, heard the screams, witnessed the deaths. "Earth did not commit genocide," Jiwon continued. "We committed justice. We stopped a predator species from preying on the innocent. And we will continue to stop anyone else who thinks sentient beings are toys to be hunted." Some council members accused Earth of being too brutal. Others quietly supported them. In the end, the council voted to recognize Earth's actions as legitimate self-defense and defense of other species. But the real message was clear to every alien watching. Humanity was not to be trifled with. 3 months after the war ended, a memorial was built on Earth. It stood in Geneva, a massive wall of black stone. On it were carved 3,000 names, every human taken by the Vrelax over 40 years. At the base of the memorial was a simple inscription: "They hunted us for sport. We hunted them to extinction. Never forget." Yuna stood before the memorial on the day it opened. She found the names of her crewmates from the Seongnam's Hope, 47 people who had just wanted to explore and learn. "I'm sorry I couldn't save you," she whispered, "but I made sure they paid for it." Behind her, Admiral Sung put a hand on her shoulder. "You did more than survive, Yuna. You gave us time to find you. You gave us the evidence we needed. You showed them that humans don't break easily. I'm not a hero, Yuna said. I just did what I had to do to live. That's what makes you a hero, Xiong replied. Yuna was offered many things after the war: money, fame, positions of power. She turned them all down. Instead, she asked for one thing: to be made an ambassador. I want to travel the galaxy, she told Chancellor Ji-Wan. I want to meet other species. I want to make sure everyone knows. Earth wants peace. We want to explore and learn and be friends, but if you hunt us, if you hurt us, if you make us choose between being victims or being feared, we will always choose to be feared. Ji-Wan agreed. Yuna became Earth's youngest ambassador. She traveled to hundreds of worlds, meeting with alien leaders and governments. Everywhere she went, she told her story, not to brag or threaten, but to explain, to make them understand humanity. We're not monsters, she would say. We're people. We value life. We want peace, but we also protect our own. If you respect us, we'll be the best friends you ever had. If you threaten us, well, ask the Vrelax how that worked out for them. Some species were afraid of humanity after the war. Others were impressed. A few became strong allies, grateful that someone had finally stood up to the Vrelax. 5 years after the war, Yuna visited Vrelax's prime. The planet had changed. The massive cities were gone, replaced by simple villages. The Vrelax lived as farmers and craftspeople now, using basic tools. They remembered their past but couldn't return to it. An old Vrelax approached her. He was missing 2 limbs and walked with a cane. She recognized him. "Huntmaster Kelvan," she said. "Not anymore," he replied. "Just Kelvan now. No title, no honor, no hunt." They stood in silence for a moment. "Do you hate us?" he asked. "Yes," Yuna said honestly. "I hate what you did. I hate that you made me kill. I hate that you took 47 days of my life. But I don't hate you enough to want you extinct. I just want you to never do it again." "We won't," Kelvan said quietly. "We can't. Even if we wanted to. And some of us have learned we were wrong. We treated life as a game. We deserved what happened." "Maybe," Yuna said. "But your children didn't. That's why you're still alive." She left the planet that day and never returned. 10 years after the war, the Inchan's Fury was retired from active service. It was moved to a museum in orbit around Earth. On its hull, painted in white, were 3,000 small marks, one for each human avenged. Admiral Shung retired too. He spent his final years writing a book about the war, making sure the lessons were never forgotten. Commander Nari continued leading Special Forces operations, rescuing humans and aliens from dangers across the galaxy. Dr. Minho became head of Earth's defense research, ensuring humanity always stayed ahead in technology. Captain Taeyang took command of a new dreadnought, the Yuna's Vengeance, and patrolled the Outer Rim, protecting human colonies. And Yuna continued her work as an ambassador. She was 60 years old when she gave her final speech at the Galactic Council. By then, she was famous across 100 worlds. Children knew her name. Leaders respected her wisdom, and predatory species feared her warnings. "I've spent 30 years traveling the galaxy," she said. "I've met thousands of species. Most of them are good people who just want to live and thrive. But some of them look at others and see prey, see resources, see toys." She looked around the council chamber. "To those species, I say this: humanity is watching. We're not the biggest species or the oldest or the most advanced, but we're the ones who will stop you if you hunt the innocent. We learned that lesson the hard way. We had to hunt the Vrelax to extinction to protect others." She paused. "We don't want to do that again, but we will if we have to. So choose wisely. Be our friends, our partners, our allies. Or be a memory that other species use to teach their children about the dangers of predation." The chamber was silent. "The choice is yours," Yuna finished. Choose peace. She stepped down from the podium and walked out of the chamber. Behind her, the galaxy watched and remembered. The hunt was over. Humanity had won, and they had made sure that no one would ever forget what happens when you hunt humans for sport.